uncovering the awareness field that unites the universe. Have you ever felt a connection to someone or something that you just can't explain? A sudden thought of a loved one right before they call you? Or maybe a quiet, profound sense of belonging while staring up at a sky full of stars? If you ask mainstream science, the answer is simple. Your consciousness, the very thing that makes you you, is locked inside your skull. It's a ghost in the machine, a temporary illusion created by the complex firing of neurons. When your brain stops, you simply vanish. But what if that's not the whole story? What if your mind isn't just in your brain? A controversial theory suggests it's part of a hidden awareness field, one that connects every mind, influences matter, and unites the entire universe. This isn't just a philosophical daydream. We're going to explore the scientists who are seriously proposing it, the major pushback from mainstream physics, and the incredible possibility that the truth is even stranger than some new force of nature. Section 1. The Fortress of the Brain. To get why the idea of an awareness field is so radical, you first have to appreciate the fortress it's trying to escape: the brain. For decades, the main goal of neuroscience has been to pinpoint consciousness somewhere in its 3 pounds of wet electrical tissue, and they've made incredible progress. Theories like the global workspace theory suggest consciousness is what happens when different brain regions broadcast information to a shared neural bulletin board. It's a state of integrated awareness that emerges from sheer computational power. Other models, like integrated information theory, even propose a mathematical way to measure it, with a number called phi. These are powerful theories, and they all look exclusively inside the brain to explain the mind. For most scientists, the case is closed. Consciousness is simply what the brain does, and yet, a huge, nagging question won't go away. It's called the hard problem of consciousness. We can map all the brain activity that happens when you see the color red, but why does all that electrical fizzing feel like red? Why does objective physical processing create a subjective, private, inner world in the first place? This is the gap where our story gets interesting. It's the crack in the fortress wall where a few brave and often controversial thinkers have slipped through to ask a question that borders on scientific heresy. What if the brain doesn't create consciousness at all? What if it just receives it? Section 2. The echo of a universal mind. And that's where a few brave thinkers come in, ready to challenge the consensus. One of the most vocal proponents of a unified consciousness field is Dr. John Hagelin, a physicist who got his PhD from Harvard. After a career in particle physics, Hagelin turned to a radical idea, blending quantum field theory with ancient meditative traditions. His claim is as simple as it is staggering. The unified field that physicists have been searching for, a single underlying field from which all forces and particles arise, is the exact same thing as the field of pure consciousness. In this view, the universe isn't a cold, dead place with a few pockets of life. Instead, awareness is the fundamental stuff of reality. It's a field, just like gravity or electromagnetism. Our individual brains aren't creating the music of consciousness. They're more like complex biological radios, just tuning into a specific frequency on a universal broadcast that's always playing. This idea has deep philosophical roots, echoing concepts like panpsychism. The belief that mind is a fundamental feature of everything, from an electron to a star. Some have taken this even further, proposing this isn't just a metaphor. They suggest it could be a literal physical force, a fifth fundamental force beyond gravity, electromagnetism, and the two nuclear forces. This hypothetical force would be carried by a new particle, sometimes called a psychion, that links consciousness to matter. It's a breathtaking idea. If it were true, it would mean our thoughts aren't entirely private. It would suggest that our collective awareness could actually have a tangible effect on the physical world. This leads to some of the most startling claims associated with the theory. Proponents like Hagelin point to studies on large group meditation, known as the Maharishi effect, which they claim correlate with measurable drops in local crime rates and violence, as if a coherent field of consciousness was tangibly calming the world around it. It's a profound and unsettling idea. It puts the magic back in the universe and places our own minds right at the center of its story. But before we get carried away, we have to ask the most important question of all. Where's the proof? If you're enjoying this journey to the edge of science, consider subscribing and joining our community of curious minds. Now let's see what the gatekeepers of physics have to say. Section 3. The Wall of Evidence. When you propose a new fundamental force of nature, you're not just starting a debate, you are picking a fight with the most rigorously tested framework in human history, the Standard Model of particle physics. And mainstream physicists have a very clear response. First, to be taken seriously, a new force needs more than a compelling story. It needs precise mathematics that make specific, testable, and falsifiable predictions. It has to tell us the mass of its particle, its range, and how strongly it interacts with matter. So far, ideas about a consciousness force are mostly qualitative, lacking the mathematical backbone needed for real experiments. Second, and this is the big one, physicists have been actively searching for a fifth force for decades, and they haven't found one. Using incredibly precise experiments like torsion balances and atomic spectroscopy, scientists have put extremely tight constraints on any new forces that might be out there. They have found no reproducible evidence for a new particle or field that could be responsible for consciousness. The psychion remains completely hypothetical. As for the claims about large-scale meditation effects, mainstream scientists are deeply skeptical. They point out that these studies often lack the rigorous, double-blind controls needed to rule out other explanations and statistical flukes. Without independent, robust replication under strict lab conditions, these claims just aren't considered scientific evidence. But this is where the story takes its final, strangest turn. Just because mainstream physics rejects a new force of consciousness doesn't mean reality is simple, or that we're all disconnected. In fact, if you look closely at the established laws of physics, they reveal a universe that's already unified in a way that's arguably far more profound and bizarre. The deeper we dig, the stranger it gets. According to quantum field theory, the universe isn't made of tiny, separate billiard balls. It's made of continuous, vibrating fields. There is one electron field that fills all of space-time. Every single electron in your body, in the sun, and in the most distant galaxy is just a local ripple in that one single field. You are not a separate entity. You're a complex, temporary pattern, a standing wave in the universal quantum fields. And then there's quantum entanglement, the phenomenon Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance. Two particles can be linked so that measuring one instantly influences the other, no matter how far apart they are. This was confirmed by experiments that won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2022. While this doesn't allow for telepathy or faster-than-light communication, it proves that reality is profoundly interconnected at its most fundamental level. So the mainstream argument isn't that we are isolated. The argument is that we don't need to invent a new force to explain our connection to the cosmos. That connection is already written into the very fabric of quantum physics. Conclusion. So where does that leave us? We're standing between two powerful stories. One, from mainstream neuroscience, gives us a consciousness locked in the brain, an idea supported by lots of data, but haunted by the hard problem of why it feels like anything at all. The other, from the fringes of physics, offers a universe humming with awareness, a comforting and resonant idea that currently lacks the hard, reproducible proof that science demands. The idea of a universal awareness field sits at the crossroads of neuroscience, speculative physics, and our oldest philosophical questions. It's a powerful reminder that our map of reality is far from complete. That feeling of connection, of being part of something larger, may not be evidence of a fifth physical force, but it could be an intuition pointing toward a deeper truth, that we are not isolated accidents in a dead cosmos, but temporary self-aware patterns in a single, unified, and utterly mysterious reality. And so we have to ask the final question: is consciousness a lonely ghost in the biological machine? Or is the machine itself just a fleeting pattern appearing for a moment in a universal field of awareness? What do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This is a conversation that belongs to all of us. And if you'd like to explore more questions that challenge our understanding of the universe and ourselves, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications. Thank you for watching.